Okay, welcome to the Jiu-Jitsu podcast. I think this is episode 4. Here with us, as always, are Professor Casio, Professor Butch, and Professor Mike Geary, Newport Richey Jiu-Jitsu Academy. We will be interviewing Professor Kevin Peterson. If you point the camera over that way. Kevin?
Choke me first.
Okay, choke him. Kevin Peterson is the head instructor of Gracie Baja at Clearwater in Clearwater, Florida. He's just choked out Academy Award-winning actor Quinn Duffy, who was part of the crew that won the Academy Award for The Green Book, Best Motion Picture this year. So, oh, Quinn, you left. We were going to give a cameo to you real quick. Come on in. Come on in. Hurry up. Hurry up.
Come on, Quinn.
Come on, make yourself look good for the camera, just like you did this weekend. Quinn's
Jiu-Jitsu, it works.
Jiu-Jitsu does work.
It does.
So he was in the awesome picture that won the Academy Award, The Green Book. Go see it if you haven't seen it. It's really awesome.
Fantastic.
And he had a great part in it, and we'll see him in more movies, absolutely.
Awesome.
Get out of here, sir. Good to see you.
All right.
So, Kevin Peterson, you're down there. Do you want to come in here?
I get a ball? All right.
You get a ball.
No, I'm good.
Sounds good here.
Do you want us to get a chair?
No, I'm good.
Are you sure? You have a hurt back.
Sure. My back is.
Okay, before we talk about interviewing Kevin Peterson tonight, I want to talk about a couple things. Usually the dojo is a place where we all come together and, we put aside our differences and everyone meets on the mat so that we can be better people. Yes. Sometimes what happens though is people take liberties and they break the sanctity of that, like togetherness. And they have to bring in their politics or their religion or the fact that they're white conservatives and like Trump and all that crap.
Kind of bring in the real world into the dojo.
That's
how
allowed.
I like
That's
to do
allowed in our dojo on Sundays. Sundays is our politically incorrect day. Not Friday nights. Friday nights is family and friends fight night. It's a friendly environment, a friendly family environment, and people shouldn't talk about politics on Friday night. I just want to say that. I hope that you at your dojo maybe don't have to deal with some people like that, but unfortunately I do, all the time.
I just thought it was very relevant to the story that was being told by Quinn at the Academy Awards.
Were there any illegal immigrants allowed at the Academy Awards? Nice.
It was like a fortress that it was very hard to get into.
Oh, like Donald Trump's wall?
Well, kind of like that the Hollywood liberals are saying, let everybody in, but not everybody can get into the Academy Awards.
Oh, and Kim Il-jung isn't going to, give up his nuclear weapons.
We're here to talk to Kevin Peterson.
We are. We're here to talk to Kevin Peterson, head instructor of Gracie Baja at Clearwater. We knew Kevin way back. We're going to tell a few stories tonight, so be prepared.
All right.
So Butch and I were purple belts. Probably close.
At least you were. I don't. Probably.
Well, you would have been purple too. You got purple at the same time I did. In that big group with the Nelson and
all those.
That group.
Around that time. Yeah.
So this guy comes into the dojo. He's one of many people that come in the dojo. And by now, Butch and I being purple belts, we see people come in, we see them go. So we're friendly, but unless you stay for a while, we don't really get to know you too much yet. We usually go, oh, he's a pretty cool guy. I hope he stays, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's kind of how it is. And Kevin came in, and he started. I was teaching judo Saturday morning, and this guy came in taking my judo class, and he had 2 left feet. 2 left feet. He couldn't do judo to save his life, and I thought for sure he wasn't going to make it in jiu-jitsu. I'm like, this guy's going to quit. And a bunch of other people didn't quit, or thought the same thing. This is terrible. I feel horrible saying it now because he was my awesome training partner for 6 years and really, really good friends. He didn't get a nickname from Eduardo because Eduardo thought he was going to quit. Yeah. So that's a true story. He did not get a nickname.
I asked him about that at when I was well into brown belt, doing pretty well, and I was like, "Why didn't you ever give me a nickname?" And he told me it was because he thought I was quitting. So he didn't think he wasn't going to waste a nickname.
Craziest thing in the world.
Yeah.
But Kevin ended up becoming probably one of the most technical, if not the most technical guy, I think, under Eduardo's tutelage.
And now he chokes you with those 2 left feet.
Oh my God, those 2 left feet are like, he puts you in. I always think that Kevin's best game is his leg lasso game. I really, really like his leg lasso game. I've always liked it. But I remember the point where Kevin really started getting good. he started training under one of our senior belts, Matt Kirtley. And all of a sudden, Kevin's skill set just went up and up and up, and it was just really amazing. So, Kevin, take us through a little bit of your jiu-jitsu journey from the beginning and when things changed. And you were a really active competitor for a long time. I was there with you in California for many tournaments.
Yeah. Sorry, I'm just getting over a cold, a little scratchy on my voice. But yeah, I remember I had never done any kind of
You came in from
martial arts.
right?
Yeah, I was a skateboarder.
He's a
Yeah,
skateboarder.
I still skateboard.
He's got a half pipe in his house.
Yeah. So yeah, I had no real. I was pretty dexterous with my feet from skateboarding, but I had no combat, no wrestling, no karate, nothing. Yeah, nothing. So yeah, you come into jiu-jitsu and you hear that like with technique conquers everything, but then your first experience really is not really that, because like the people who are winning are the people that wrestled, the people you're just getting there thrown around, thrashed, and I was, I didn't really think too much that I was gonna get very good at all, but it was something to do, and until I hung around and watched one of the advanced classes, and I saw Matt Kirtley, the guy who helped me out a lot. He was a purple belt at the time too, and I watched him run through everybody. Yep. All the people that gave even brown and black belts that were giving other people hard times that I watched just kill people. And Matt Kirtley was my size, probably 150 pounds. I mean, if you just looked at him, I'm sorry, but I mean, like, it didn't look like he could do 20 push-ups, like at the time.
He joked about being nerdy, kind of. Like he was in computers. He wasn't super athletic. I mean, he was a super great guy, really awesome guy, but just became so technical. I remember he started studying.
He just really did a lot of tape study, a lot of studying.
He went to a lot of different seminars too. He went to see Marcelo Garcia down in Miami when Marcelo's first came to the United States.
Yeah,
he had school in Miami. He went down there a bunch. He went to Eddie Bravo tournaments or seminars. He was one of the first guys out of our group that went to other teachers and explored other jiu-jitsu instructors. Back in the early days, that was kind of frowned upon.
And he did get crap for that.
You know what? Surprisingly, Eduardo never gave him crap. Eduardo never gave him crap, but it was some of the other higher belts. Yeah. And quite frankly, it was a couple of the higher belts I know in particular that were jealous of him, that were jealous of how good he got.
Sure,
That's absolutely. We won't say any names.
But anyway, yeah. So like, he was teaching classes on Tuesdays and Thursday nights, and at that time I didn't have custody of my son or anything, so I could train every night. So I would go there, and he didn't have a car at the time, so class would end at like 8:30 or so, and he didn't have a car. I had a car, and he wanted to keep it training. Like he wanted to keep drilling. So we would train till 10, sometimes 11 o'clock at night. Me just being a white belt, him just wanting somebody to be a dummy to practice moves on, and then to beat up in sparring. So, I stuck with that for like probably a good like 6-8 months of just.
It seemed like you were with him longer.
Yeah. Well, then it turned into Sunday open mats where a bunch of people would say they would show up, and then it would just be me and him. So it would just be like almost like private lessons every Sunday, just because I was the one that would show up.
I know prior to you, Trog was one of his major training partners, and they used to train together all the time. And then Trog moved, I think, and during that time.
I think at that time he was injured and he wasn't training. I don't think he moved yet. Yeah. But yeah, and just just being the last man standing. You just stay there, train a little bit harder than everybody, and eventually it works. So
if you could describe your game, how would you describe your game? I mean, you're a guard player. We know that.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, right now I probably prefer playing top. Mm-hmm. Yeah. But coming all up, it was always guard, because I never trusted my wrestling, and. So, I never really had confidence that I could, get a good takedown, so I'd pull guard, and, the lasso guard was something that worked well for me, because I realized if I kept the hand here, kept the lasso, and just, if my feet placement were good, no one was going to pass my guard. Whether I did anything offensive or not, I know I could, if I had that lasso guard, I could hold it, and no one would pass. So, and it just kind of worked from there. Good, worked on a lot of guard recovery, and eventually people get tired, and you can get some stuff. So that was pretty much up until probably brown belt I was purely guard. Yeah. And then I got a little bit better at top. And now at black belt, I'd probably, in the gym, I prefer playing top. In tournaments, it's still sometimes a guard pull, but you know.
Now you've had a number of competitions. You competed at the Pan Ams. I don't know if you ever won the Pan Ams. I know you placed second. You placed second like a number of years in a row.
Yeah,
but you were up there ranked for a while though too, weren't you?
Yeah. So I mean, competing. I competed a lot at blue belt, but I never really won or didn't do. I competed
purple.
to do it.
Yeah, but
even at purple, I think I lost my first 7 matches in a row at purple before I started kind of winning, and then I got a lot of silver medals at purple belt, and then when I got promoted to brown. I remember like one of my first tournaments was a Miami Open, and I had the guy that just won the Worlds in my division, and I had him in the first round. So I was like, all right, cool. It was a 3-man division, so it's one of those weird ones where like, so I beat him in the first round, and like by an advantage, like barely squeaked it out, but just basically just pulled guard, scored some advantages, and beat him. And then he beat the guy, then he came back, and I had to beat him again, and I got a submission in the finals, and then from there. It kind of that's when at brown belt I started winning a bunch, and that was actually where I put the competition together.
Huge confidence booster. Beating that guy. And you've had a couple notable fights after that as well. Renato Tavares. There's been some local people.
Yeah, I've done. I really like the submission only super fight format where you don't have to worry about the points. You just go out there and.
Yep.
Yeah,
you've got one coming up March 9th, correct?
Yeah, next Saturday.
Next Saturday, and we're all going out to Orlando. We got tickets for that match. So we're going out to cheer you guys on.
Sounds good.
Where's that at in Orlando?
I should know.
You should know probably.
I got it in my email. It's at some event center. That yeah. I don't know the.
Do you know who your opponent is?
It's Ben Zapata.
Oh, you and Ben have had a couple of run-ins.
We've split matches. So yeah.
Is it a gi or no gi?
Gi.
That's nice. That'll be a good match. Ben's a a really great black belt from Gracie Tampa group. Super nice. One of the most outgoing of the guys from the Gracie Tampa, where he would go and travel around to other gyms and really reach out to other people. Super good competitor. So it'll be real exciting. Yeah, I'm sure he's not taking you lightly, as you're not taking him lightly. You guys have fought each other, several times, like you said before. So that'll be a real good match.
Yeah.
We know Jose's fighting Jason Diagadas, so Jose Lager. So that should be an interesting match too. Two very. Did you really set that one up?
Jose didn't have an opponent. I was like, I got a guy that can do 180. So,
you know what?
Yeah.
I
told Jose that. I was like, I got you your guy. So.
Yeah. Oh, that's interesting. Well, Jose, of course, he's like, you know Jason really well. What do you know? I'm like, listen, man, Jason's this and that, so and Jose's a real good top player too. So I think it'll be a really fun match. Jose knows kind of what to expect from Jason. I've told him watch some of his fights. They're out there on YouTube. Jason's a very aggressive competitor with his wrestling background. This guy is the owner of Gracie Baja Trinity, and he's a black belt, and he walked onto the Iowa Hawkeyes wrestling team. Just walked on the team and took a guy's scholarship, Casio. Took his scholarship. Like they did a wrestle off, best out of 3, and Jason beat the guy and got a scholarship. So he wrestled, I think, for 3 of his 4 years under Iowa, and then there were some challenges, I think, in the 4th year. I'm not really exactly sure what happened, but I know he wrestled, and we were training partners for many, many years, the 3 of us together. Great competitor. When he gets on the mat, he goes like machine mode. He's like a cyborg or something. He's just all about crushing. So it'll be a fun event. We're looking forward to it.
Yeah, and I got my first orange belt. Be competing as well.
Josh is competing. He's got a match there too?
Yeah.
Nice. Oh, congratulations. Very good. Cool.
Yeah.
Well, we're excited to see you compete. How are things going down at Gracie Baja Clearwater?
Good, very good.
Yeah, you're the head instructor now.
Yeah, I'm a head instructor. Randy is the owner. So I went from the guy that didn't get a nickname to taking over Eduardo's spot. So yeah, before Eduardo took his leave to move to Alaska and teach snowboarding, I was instructing a lot of classes for him. So at the time I couldn't really take over more because I still work as a full-time engineer. But Randy Hewitt, he wanted a good excuse to quit his finance job, and he bought the gym from Eduardo. He talked it over with me before he did it, and we decided to partner up and do it.
I know I can't think of two better guys to take over that gym. So, and I know the gym has been flourishing ever since.
John Keller's
still
teaching.
Yep, absolutely. So, and you've got old man Terry down there too, right? Terry's down there. Yeah, it's cool. So
They have a real nice gym down there.
Yeah,
really,
they do.
Real nice, modern, clean. It's definitely really nice.
yeah, so awesome. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you for joining our podcast. Any other comments, guys? Professor Casio, you doing okay down there?
Congratulations. It's honor for me. You come in the mat. I'm really happy. Thank you so much.
And thank you for letting me be the uke for when Fabio Gurgel was in town. That was great. That was great. So thank you. I really appreciate that.
You're very welcome about that. So when Master Gurgel was here, he said, Mike, who can I use? And I looked around the room and I saw Kevin immediately, and I'm like, I'm going to put him with Kevin because as the black belt down at Gracie Baja, I knew that Kevin would be able to first be a really good uke because I know him, we've trained together. Plus, I knew that Kevin would be able to take what he taught, feel it, and the technique would be transmitted to Kevin, and he'd be able to take that and bring that down to his students. So it was an honor for me to do that. And I appreciate
feeling it was
come.
something. Some of those pressure passes were. Yeah. I see why you didn't want to do it. So.
You saved my life.
Bruno Malfacini was happy that you did, that he didn't have to do it either, that you had to do it.
Yeah.
So it was my
it was
pleasure.
great. It was great, really feeling the technique. So yeah.
Yeah, he was pretty amazing. Really excellent teacher. We were talking about him last week. It was a really neat seminar. So.
Yeah, that was probably one of the seminars that probably connected, especially at that time where I was at with my guard pass. It connected really well with me as far as being usable. Like really well connected moves in a sequence that was very applicable for me, and all the way down to guys that were just learning a bullfight pass would have been great.
Yeah, well, it was funny because this last week we've gone over the basic three that he did, right? Like the one where he gets in the position and comes around. We did that one, and then we did the one where we did the where the guy goes for the ankle and you do the back step one. So remember Eduardo taught us that years ago.
That's one of my key things to passing all the time. But just that one detail on the block in the shoulder, just that shoulder switch on that simple bullfighter pass, that little shoulder switch is so applicable across the board to 10 different passes. And I don't know, simple. I was like, I would have just kept fighting it.
Exactly.
It was just that redirection.
I really liked the last technique where he pushed the knee up in the middle, where he was in a knee cut and the knee cut's getting blocked. And then he goes up in the middle.
Of that, so
I started noticing.
I've been on the recipient side of that.
Yeah,
so.
I started noticing. We started teaching that this last week, and for guard passing night, I saw a number of people using that particular because it's really impossible to kind of stop the knee from going up the middle.
Yeah,
it's really hard.
Like a De La Riva guard.
Yeah, boom, that knee's going to go right up the middle to the sternum, and that's just an unbelievable amount of pressure. So yeah, I think a lot of people are going to have a lot more success passing the knee shield. I wish we had that back when we were training with Drew. That would have been really nice to throw on Drew.
Yeah.
Although probably at the time Drew would have managed to mess us up anyway.
But He was doing pretty good. He was doing pretty good with that.
No doubt. So cool. Well, anything else we want to chat about here, guys? Anything else in the jiu-jitsu world that we should talk about? Nope. You're good, Professor Casio? It's been a long week.
Yeah.
Professor Butch?
I'm good until Sunday.
And Quinn.
Quinn, we want to get Quinn in here?
Yeah.
Do a little interview with Quinn? All
Sure.
right. Kev, you want to hang out with us or are you going to go roll?
I think I need to get some rounds
Go
in
get some
before,
rounds
for
in.
next week.
Go get some good rounds
Right
in for
after
next
this.
week. Quinn Duffy,
we'll
purple
pull in
belt
Quinn.
under us at Newport Richie Jiu-Jitsu Academy.
These two guys are my senseis, and they're the best.
We try.
Old school jiu-jitsu, man. They understand
cry.
that I'm old,
Yes.
but I
Yes.
still can kick some ass.
He does.
I just need guidance on how to do it.
I don't know whose ass he's kicking, but it's not
Yours
mine.
are going to be tonight. You keep running your mouth, sir.
Oh,
That's what we do here.
That's a lot of
I
smack
think you were
talk.
talking to Casio.
I know. If I heard an accent, I would have. Right out the window.
We don't smack talk against Professor Casio because
No way.
smack talking against myself, Professor Butch. That's one thing. You talk smack against Professor Casio, that's a whole nother different level.
You're not
No.
more heavy soon.
Yes, I agree.
So hey, Quinn.
Yes,
so
sir.
tell us a little bit about your.
What'd you do this weekend,
trip.
Quinn? What did you do this
I
weekend?
was afforded the incredible luxury to go to the Oscars. My best friend and another best friend of mine we used to work security together 30 years ago when I was 20 years old.
In LA.
In Los Angeles, a lot of different nightclubs. And there was a bunch of us, but some of us became chiropractors. Some of us, became actors, writers, but pretty much most of us were successful. It's cool. Like, we all did okay. Because it was like a continuation of high school. We were bouncers at the hottest nightclubs in LA in the 90s.
What nice club?
China Club, Bar One. I worked the door at Bar One, the Billboard Live I opened. That was the first night there at Beverly Club. Black and Blue is where we all met, which was owned by Stallone and Dolph Lundgren. I don't want to name drop, but just the hottest clubs at the time. So every year, one or two of us was working at the hottest club, and then we'd all be working there because we'd need shifts and we'd hire each other. So it was much different than it is today. That's when you could actually make a decent living as a door guy. Now you can't. They nail you with the cameras. But then we used to rob like crazy, like get knocked up. Doorman. The only reason you put up with that is because they pay
gave
the
you
doorman,
money.
doorman. The people that get in, they tip you. So, so we put up with the bullshit so that we could act during the day or write or whatever it was that we did, and then at night, make our money at night, and then during the day we could be open for auditions and stuff. And I became disgruntled and left the business, but most of my friends stayed in it and are killing it. I mean, dude, they're killing it, bro.
So anyway, your best
Right?
friend.
Yeah, my best friend Nick Vallelonga wrote a story about a guy who was very much like my old man passed away when I was young. He's very much like my dad, an adopted dad, but he was to a lot of people because he was just that kind of guy. But each one of us thinks we had a special relationship, and his name was Tony Lip, Tony Vallelonga. So his father, and he put me in the he got me in the movie. He got a bunch of people in the movie. He got all of his family in the movie that's left. His father has passed away since. But his father went on this incredible journey that I've been hearing about since I met Nick when I was 20, when I was doing a play in Santa Monica. And Nick was one of the only guys from the club that came to see it, which I thought was amazing. I had never done a play before. I was 22 years old. I just got into acting. And I was scared and nervous and shit. And it was cool to see a friendly guy that I worked security with inside, or where I was at the time, I think I was bartending. He was working security, but same shit. I used to go over to the bar.
So
every night.
Nick's father was actually
Nick's father is Tony Lip.
was played by
Viggo Mortensen.
Viggo Mortensen.
Yeah. And Viggo, again, he got robbed. You got robbed, Viggo. If you ever see this in some obscure wasteland, if you ever watch this on a black and white TV set or a black and white monitor somewhere, or someone punches your name into the keyword, don't do it. I forget. I was just kidding around. You know me. I just joke.
Listen, this is it's okay.
It's fine.
Talk, man. We're having,
They can't edit
we're
it
having
out,
a good
Butch.
time.
It's like an actor's dream. You can't edit me out. I can do it, say whatever I want. You're completely naked right now. Wouldn't impress anybody but Butch.
I might be impressed.
Viggo played his father, and in the '60s they went on a journey through the South, the Jim Crow South, which was again filled with racist pieces of shit, and brain dead racist pieces of shit, and no comparison to anyone today or anything like that. Just that was the time. It was a friendship movie. That just happened to be their circumstances. And now it's become like this. I don't know if you're reading any of this shit, but it's become like this. They're saying a lot of untrue things that I happen to know for a fact because I spoke with Tony. I knew Tony since I'm 21, and I've known Nick, and neither one has ever lied to me. Ever. And I've
there's
been
always
through
going to be people
business,
that
girls,
the
whole 9 yards with them. And
Yeah.
guys let you down, people let you down. Maybe not in Jiu-Jitsu. Jiu-Jitsu doesn't let you down, but people let you down. It's just the way it is. He's never let me down. Really, really let me down ever.
But regardless,
And they're saying shit about him, dude.
yeah. But
Bro.
regardless, it was an excellent movie. It was a great
Yeah, it was
movie.
fantastic.
It's a beautiful
Yeah.
story, and
Yeah.
all it's about, and I hope you go see, it's called Green Book, won Best Picture, Best Screenplay, Mahershala Ali won Best Actor, Supporting Actor, and it got 5 nominations, it won a couple of Golden Globes. It's a beautiful film. It's like a throwback movie. It's like a Capra film. If you know anything about Frank Capra movies, It's a Wonderful Life and a list of others. That happens to be my favorite movie. You'll see a lot of the same feeling to it.
It was a
Peter
fantastic
Farrelly,
movie.
dude, is a guy who deserves it. He's long overdue, and Universal and everyone else that's helped and participated, whatever. Like I said, man, it's a great movie. It's the highlight of my acting career. Because I started making pizza, and living in Newport Richie. It's not exactly I'm going to walk out my door and get discovered by.
Yeah, but you got jiu-jitsu here.
So no, but I have great jiu-jitsu,
Right.
and that keeps me from.
And see, we discovered your
going home
jiu-jitsu.
and driving my wife to jump over a bridge, so, and my kids. So, this is the thing that saves my marriage, to be honest with you.
And probably put you in a frame that you can go and audition and kick ass.
Yeah,
But you had to
there were
audition for the
auditions
movie,
here.
right?
Yes, I did. Well, I got lucky. Nick's crafty. What he did was, I'll just tell this real quick. He called me out of the blue, and I was sitting on my porch smoking a bud, talking to my wife, having coffee. It was like 7 o'clock at night. The sun was coming down, and my phone rings. I see Nick, and I know everything that's going on with the movie because he's my best friend. So I talk to him once every couple of weeks. He fills me in, and then I don't talk to him for a couple of weeks. So I call him. I'm like, hey, bro, what's up? And he goes, hey, listen, don't talk. Because I talk a lot, obviously. And he says, don't talk, do me a favor. He goes, put on tape right now, you doing my father smoking. And I said, because I used to do I loved his father, so I used to do impressions of him, talk like, when's your father coming out, all that kind of shit. And I said, okay, I'll do it. He goes, just email it to me right away. Don't ask me. I go, why? Kid, just do it right now and shut the fuck up and just do it. So I went, okay. I said, just anywhere? He goes, anywhere. He goes, just be you and do the impression of my father smoking, but about the smoking, how my father smoked. So, all right, blah.
Can you do a quick impression?
I send it. No, I can't do it without
You gotta
sending it. I
say,
gotta have smoke coming out of my ears.
Got it.
So I do it. Just sitting on my porch, I put my iPhone like this. It's like you can't even see me. It's dark, which is probably why I got it. And I light up the cigarette and I do a whole thing on Tony, how I felt about him, because I loved him so much, and how he smoked and how he was in a room and how he could make you. He was one of those guys that could just make you have a good time no matter what the situation was. He'd find a way for some way to make you smile. He was literally that guy. Bullshit or not, he was that guy. I knew him fucking 30 years. I watched him up until the last days he died. Yeah. And so I've known him since he was healthy in his 50s till he died. And it never changed. Same with Nick, never changed, the same guy. So all the shit they're saying is bullshit, but whatever. So they sent it out. Nick called me like a couple hours later and said, Vigo loved it. He saw it. He says, thank you. Oh, no, he sent me an email. He said he passed it on to the whatevers. Or he just said he loved it or something like that. Well, I guess because Vigo liked it, Nick was able to pass it on to the producers and to Peter Farrelly, the director, which he did because he's a great guy. And he did that for me. He said, hey, take a look at this. There was something someone put on tape for Vigo, a smoking thing of my father, a guy that knew my father, to the director. And the director went, who's this guy? And he goes, well, that's one of my guys that I wanted to get on the movie that you wanted to hire, Louisiana, whatever. And we got the job. Me and a couple other guys he got us into the room.
Oh, wow.
Because that's what it is. A lot of this business is just being able to get into the room. And it doesn't matter how good you are or how hard you work, if you don't get in the room, nobody knows. Yeah. So except dinner theater in Orlando, you know what I mean? Not that I've done dinner theater in Orlando, nor will I. I make pizza. So
really good pizza.
Really good pizza.
Really good pizza.
Well, I remember when you got the movie, and he came in here on a Sunday, and we're like, Quinn, what's going on? Well, I'm going to be out for a little while. I got a movie going on, and he comes in, and I think that was when you started wearing the earmuffs.
Yeah, because of my ears. So what happens when you do? That's a warning to you that do jiu-jitsu. 4 years I've been doing jiu-jitsu.
He was wearing.
So how many years have you been doing jiu-jitsu?
He's got him. That ear does not look exactly the same as that ear. All right, maybe it does. So however I do jiu-jitsu, this is what happens.
Well, that's because you stick your head in, so to get choked. So anyway, so I remember, and then you started wearing those because you're like, wait a minute, my wife said I can't mess up my face because of this movie. And needless to say, I think those lasted, about maybe 2 days, and then you never wore those again.
You can't wear that stuff. They're
because
horrible.
I need to protect my ears because my wife says to me, what did you do to yourself? And every time I come home, she goes, what did you do to yourself? Because jiu-jitsu it takes miles out of your body, especially if you do it late in life, but it also builds on your character and who you are as a person. So lessons that you missed in life, you'll learn in jiu-jitsu even at 50, even at 45, even at 25, even at 15. the constant struggle of jiu-jitsu. Struggle is where we learn everything, and jiu-jitsu is constant struggle, constant learning, win or learn. That's jiu-jitsu, man, and that's what I love about it. So, like I said, that's what I used to love about acting was the that of it. And I don't know how to put the words to it, but I feel it when I do jiu-jitsu, man. I just
That's
feel
awesome.
it. Not karate, not boxing, nothing. Jiu-jitsu. So it works.
does
You
work.
know it works. I showed you earlier how well it works.
Oh,
Whoa!
here comes
All right,
some more
all right.
talk.
So we're stopping this real quick. So we're gonna go out.
Okay,
Yeah,
all right. So
maybe we are.
we'll go ahead and finish it up. Professor Casso, anything else? We're good. We got the Copa tomorrow. We want to thank our sponsor, Warhammer Fightwear, Jason. We missed you tonight. Hopefully, we'll get you on
McGee
next time. Jason was going to be our guest of honor tonight, but he had a dinner engagement he had to go to, so we'll get him next time he's back in town, get him on the camera. We'll talk all about the manufacturing and all his different ideas of Warhammer Fightwear. But we got Quinn here, and we had Kevin Peterson, so we had a great couple of guests. We're
tap me
really,
twice in
yep,
4 minutes.
absolutely, man. And so now we're going to say goodbye. We're going to say adieu, and Butch is going to go beat up Quinn.
That's right.
There we go.
Like our page, subscribe. I think that's it.